What is LaLa Gardens Cooperative? Well, certainly it's proven true that all is in the small. And it's crazy how much is actually going on under our feet that is not small at all. So, LaLa Gardens Cooperative, I'm Tina Trout, founder, stepping into more of a steward role within the cooperative. But still, there is a founder's history and there's a garden history, and it's important to know a little bit about the history. But as we're stepping into this lovely, like what's taken about 2 years to kind of bring everybody together and create this in real life, um, it's been a process. And this overview kind of goes into what it's taken all the way from figuring out what the governance is, how we're going to use media, recognizing that media is really limited to us and really censored, and how can we do things brand new. And LaLa Gardens Cooperative is all about demonstrating Web3 tools, these new technologies that are coming forth that really allow LaLa Gardens to be um, active in a decentralized space that's interested in making technology, media, science, finance, culture available and free, without censorship and without commodification that comes from corporate influence. So media is definitely high on our list, and we've got some great stories to bring forward for you and ways to interface. Web3 again is just diverse, but the one thing that can be said about Web3 certainly is that it moves at the pace of relationships. And so we've been deep in cultivating these relationships, and all of these things are going to come forward. People on the ground are going to be meeting the people virtually that have been coming together to do this, and that's the exciting part. We're very active in formulating trade route. And what attracts LaLa Gardens to the term trade route is through her associations with various organizations that are native led, um, and indigenous in nature, including the kinds of teachings that we bring as natural farmers here, which are rooted in a wisdom path, an indigenous teaching that comes from Vietnam, Japan, Korea, those sorts of areas, but find their overlap in other native indigenous wisdom paths of cultivating foods and restoring and bringing regenerative and restorative practices to our land. We've we are representative of and made up of leaders in their own right within their own communities. And so within the trade route network, we're already coming to a relationship with other alliances and other organizations. LaLa Gardens itself as a cooperative is made up first of owners. You first become an owner before you ownership is once, and then membership is yearly and renewable, and also varied. There's different kinds of memberships depending on what your interests are. But owner is the first step. You become an owner, $100, that's the fee, and you're in. Memberships are varied again, and we'll go into detail. You can also spend some time with LaLa Gardens as a visitor, and we've got some structure that allows for visitors to come and check things out, be part of the environment, host events even if you happen to be a local organization. And then we also have 5 residencies that are available that follow a kind of an archetypical role. We've got, I guess I would be a steward resident. Blaze is, I would say, maybe an alchemical prototype. And then we've got the artist and the scribe. We've got an elder. So that's going on. And then LaLa Gardens in real life, what's actually happening here on ground. We're getting ready to have an event on Saturday, which is super exciting. So we're going to start on board unrolling a lot of in real life events, but also through Alliance's educational courses. So that'll become very transparent and available. And everything that LaLa Gardens does is basically rooted in a document called Declaration of Interdependence. And there's history to how this came about and what that means. And we will be going into that. And maybe we'll spend one of these ownership meetings really diving deep into the Declaration of Interdependence, because I think it's important that we each of us almost like come up with our own Declaration of Interdependence. And I think by kind of going through this one in detail, it might be an interesting experience and an exploration or even a game to see if we can craft our own declarations of interdependence. So here we are, starting at governance. LaLa Gardens, there's a roadmap that's been happening for about the last year. Recently, we became a limited cooperative association, which is a legal entity that's available to us in Colorado plus a few other states. And it really is a framework that lends itself well to being organized decentrally, having a layer of virtual interaction that is recognized, can be rewarded through the function of the garden. So say we have a really robust year in which there's just the abundance is overflowing. The limited cooperative association allows us to distribute some of that abundance amongst the owners and investors. And there's different levels that are recognized in the LCA. So it's a neat model that's being used by a lot of decentralized organizations, and we are one of them. We're actively working on our bylaws right now. So if that's something of interest to you as owners, certainly get in touch with us. And yeah, we'll plug you in. There's ways to be involved with LaLa Gardens through different networks, and I think some of that will be visible as we go through this deck. We are working with HIFA, which is a DAO tool, decentralized holonic organization, or decentralized human organization, which I think is the preferred way to look at it. Basically, it's, again, as Web3 demonstrates, it's about relationships. And these are folks that have been working together for a long time now. Establishing relationships, and HIFA offers some really excellent organizational tools for cooperatives and decentralized organizations. So we're going to be utilizing their tool. There's another one, Celeste, which is a smaller platform, but it's also through relationship and has some interesting aspects. So a lot of what LaLa Gardens is going to do is demonstrate Web3 tools and sort of have two different models so that we can explore and do almost like a natural farming side by side to see what aspects of one we may like better than another, or how user friendly is it for people in real life who are just not used to using these kinds of things. It's all new to them. So what makes the integration better? We are interested in developing a LaLa coin. So far, some of the functions identified are voting and rewards for work, because so many people have been putting a lot of time into LaLa Gardens and not necessarily seeing a monetary return quite yet. So the voting and the rewards is a way also outside of fiat to really explore what it is like to value each other's work and value your own work, and explore that middle ground where the values are open to interpretation and open to relationship and open to contracts. And that's one of the benefits of being in the Web3 space, which means blockchain, which means contracts, which means no middlemen, people coming together around these smart contracts that are able to do some really interesting things, like creating new value and new kinds of value that are more intrinsic, more about what we bring as individuals and humans doing real work, real regenerative work. We don't know what the value of that is in normal fiat systems. And so that's a lot of what attracts LaLa Gardens to the Web3 space, is this ability to redefine value and redefine ownership to be that of stewardship, and then have that be of value and rewarded accordingly. So then, as we get a little bit down this list, we're landing in real soil and food security is got to be top on everyone's list. And how are we going to be growing food that is more nutrient dense, more flavorful, more abundant, um, and more pest resistant and virus resistant and healthy and within a healthy ecosystem and vibrantly in connection with its microbial diversity? So all of those things are very much alive here through the vehicle of natural farming, which is really an elegant way of introducing diversity into soils as well as communities. So yeah, diversity and having that diversity be a type of a governance where we are favoring an increased diversity, which is the very uh, definition of regenerative. Um, this 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 wealth of diversity that happens as a result of just stewarding and tending to the life that you're with and in your places. We are principle based, and again, we'll be going into the Declaration of Interdependence. We do recognize this is our goal. Earth is a sovereign being, and as this garden is allowed to go through succession, she's expressing herself as a being. And we're intent on making sure that this garden, it stays in succession and is an abundant garden, not only for us, not only for the visitors and the residents, but also for our progeny, for people who come after us. They can always come here and learn from her and see what it's like to have a garden that's been in succession since, you know, since it's been tended already. We're already there. We've already planted our roots. We would like to be data supported, especially through DeSci, decentralized science. We know that every single one of our systems is broken, and decentralized science offers a way to create structures that are scientific, that are data supported, but that we own, that can't be manipulated. It would be nice to look at the soils and know what water sequestration looks like using IMOs, and to be able to bring natural farming forward into the science communities so that they can see that even though there are these wisdom pathways of learning about the soil, that those are not um, fictional. They are just other lenses that can be supported through science. And I'm excited to share narratives with science about what's actually happening in the soils. We're generally going forward as a sanctuary because everything we're doing is new and requires safety and requires a sense of well-being. And when we come together as residents and we're trying to figure out new systems of governance and how to go forward and create the kind of abundance through economy, through farmers markets, through craft events, through an artist being able to come here and do a feature length film. So all of these things are going to require a place that is peaceful and harmonious and a garden that you can step into every day. And so we're very intent on creating a sanctuary, and of course, supported by natural law, as we get to see natural law expressed daily by just walking the garden. So a little bit of a look into media. There is Fort Collins Public Media, which we have been plugged in with, and we're in active communication with, going to be coming up with some programming. So anyone out there who feels like they would like to contribute to some kind of a show or a podcast or an interview style or a salon style production um, that would link some of our hyper local organizations, this is for you. And that would be one function of ownership and even membership, is to step into some kind of a media generating hyper local event. I'm really excited to bring you Bloom Network. I'll show you a little bit more at the end of this presentation about what Bloom Network is and how we stand with this. And it's coming live very, very soon. And it's going to be a media platform that does a lot of the work that we want social media to do, and it just isn't doing it. I actually feel like I could step away from a lot of the social media just by engaging with the platform Bloom. And So we're going to be looking at that. We're already a bloom. We are a bloom for Fort Collins, so it's a done deal. We just get to explore what that actually means now. So being an owner is definitely putting you in the hot seat when it comes to a brand new platform that's not even launched yet. That's amazing. Um, yeah. hmm Now I'm just bringing this one forward just because I guess it gives a sample of what we can do. This was Ignite Salon that was put together with some folks in the Seeds in my Seeds Alliance with alliances, which is a token of sorts, a social experiment that brings a lot of interesting organizations together. And this was an attempt at a kind of a decentralized media platform. And we brought a salon every week, and we brought together financial and farmers and artists. And it was just a beautiful combination because, as we're finding that science can marry wisdom paths, so too can finance be functional with artists, with farmers, and find the overlaps in the visions that they're holding for our regenerative future. And yeah, so it was so I would like to bring something like Ignite Salon to Fort Collins Media or some hyperlocal. And that's why that's there. Here are some of the alliances that are active within Web3. Origo is a Web3 application that is kind of like a self-governance for volunteers. It's a way for us to put out quests or little or jobs that we need done or any level of things, and volunteers can go into the Origo app and create their own schedules and just plug in that way. And then their efforts, once they finish a task, they can even take a picture of it, upload it, whatever, and then it gets badged so that their progress in the LaLa Gardens ecosystem is basically mapped for them and can even lead into an association of other organizations. So if they skill up, for instance, at LaLa Gardens with natural farming, perhaps they can step into another garden and say, look, I've got my 3 badges I needed to certify that I know how to do IMO 4 or all the way to IMO 5. And that other gardener will know that that's a real thing. So here, okay, we've got the microbe heroes coming in at this moment. This is an NFT that I've only got 10 minutes. That's okay, I can do it. It's a practice run. No one's here.
Doing pretty good so far.
Really? Cool. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, not too lengthy. All right. All right, here we go. So this is like one of the most exciting parts of LaLa Gardens Cooperative. Just for me personally, it's just been a blast to work on this NFT, non-fungible token. What WTF? I know a lot of you are really thinking that. NFT, I mentioned it to some local communities and they react. And there's a stigma about it. And there's been a recent hyped up media crypto crash kind of scenario, which is very real, which oddly does not touch the function of NFTs. And so if I can get across what a regenerative function of an NFT has the potential to do within a garden like this, it would definitely reside within the microbe heroes. So we are going to do an entire investigation of what the microbe heroes really is, and I think probably we'll take one of these meetings to do so. So stay tuned. Microbe Heroes is on the way. Again, regional, we're just bringing in bloom. But I think what I would have liked to have put here instead is a slide about permatours. We're going to talk about our association with permatours pretty soon. Because permatours is becoming something will be they will be a bloom themselves. They are a bloom already, I'm sure. Not quite, but they will be. Anyway, they're very similar in some ways. Trade route. So identified within a trade route function, We would be acting as a food hub and distribution, cultural exchange, especially with many Lakota organizations. We have two teepees on the property. We have relationships with a family that does stone people ceremonies, sweat lodges, and yeah, we have a lot of relationships that are going to lead to some really interesting and very deep learnings between us. We have established a stewards and a wisdom council, which is really neat. It's made up of other change makers, but also folks who are in the natural farming community. Um, yeah, so it's good, and we're learning, we're skilling up through a communication style called offered by Marie Arpa. I'm slaughtering that one. All right, to be continued. We're entering into markets, including winter farmers markets. We're associating with other co-ops and CSAs. That's incredibly exciting, specifically fields of wheat. We're working on our systems to support resident nomads because there's so many young people who want to travel and learn and skill up and just explore other regenerative projects. And we would like to be supportive of that so that they're not having to uproot and leave the garden entirely to go do that, but they're still being supported through association or function or whatever. So we're creating the systems for that. We're also offering a micro festival, sort of a hub function to coordinate with other alliances to have a festival kind of interactive capacity whenever we want. Again, food security comes in, landrace gardening, seed saving libraries. We're entering into a sewing circle alliance with Quonset Hut Hemp Co-op, and we are actively designing and putting out magazines and publications to keep everybody in the loop, not only with each other, but the things we're doing here. Some of our alliances include Kitty Cats, Dem Pure. Can't say enough about Dem Pure. We're going to have them on for one of these meetings and just have a nice conversation. Bloom Network, same thing. Hyphen Celeste, same thing. Regen Civics, an amazing tribe of organizations that are doing similar but different things and supporting each other and being transparent through their processes. The whole natural farming community, always got them in my heart because I know that natural farming principles extend into the way we build community and work together. And I can't wait for some natural farmers to really start utilizing some of the tools that we bring. An alliance with Permatours, which I'm just so excited about. My goodness, what an amazing organization. They're they've already visited, I don't know, like 40 farms or something. And so as they're visiting and doing work, it just creates these relationships and it's a natural alliance. And just the quality of education that we're going to be getting through this association is just incredible. We had a soil science panel just yesterday. There's going to be one coming up next week that I'll be part of. So I'll make sure everybody gets that invite. And so I'll be doing a lot of the educational platforms through Permatours and in association with Permatours. And I can't wait till that becomes visible for everybody. Regen Garden is interesting. It's like we were going to be a platform hosting NFTs, regenerative with land-based regenerative projects, and we're still exploring. It's a decentralized NFT platform, but also services-based offering. So basically offering our services to come in and help you ideate and actuate around creating NFTs in line and in support of your own projects. So Regen Garden is going to be a service provider to help you onboard your NFTs and also help you figure out how that works with your garden to bring you funds, to bring you support, to help you do amazing things. There's a lot to do with NFTs. And so Regen Garden is going to be a service platform for that. Seeds is an interesting ecosystem. It is a currency of sorts. It's a token, but it's not live yet. We're working on that. We're still in process of creating the tokenomics that will support ecosystems. And so what it is so far is just a relationship of organizations and on-site projects that have been working together for a while now and have built up those trust relationships and are figuring out a way to tokenize and support local tokens and support regenerative functions and bring much needed economy into places that we've been struggling for a long time trying to figure out how to make money in a sustainable way and how to support these projects and how to make the value come through. And anyway, Seeds has been very much a part of that. So we're associated as a garden with them. Waves of Grain Pop is new to me, brought to me lovingly by Sharon Montes, a owner here. I've only reached out to them once, but I am so excited about what they're doing. They're a food distribution and they're creating food distribution hubs. And they also have a similar vision to secure homesteads through legacy. I don't know if they're interested in the trust system or what we're doing through a cooperative ownership system. There's just so many ways to do it. And but yeah, they basically are working with about 70 farms, I think, and offering the offerings from those 70 farms are through Waves of Grain as a food distribution co-op. Pretty excited. I don't know Radical Resilience or Keep Colorado Free yet. Those are also contacts through our owner, Dr. Sharon Montes. And so I'm yet to actually reach out to them, but I'm putting them here. NOCO Permaculture Guild is a local kind of a anarchy organization that is worker emphasized. So they come and they basically help people with their projects in a really interesting way. And so they've been very involved in the early days of Pupus poetry. There were several workshops and John Anderson came over and helped us and build some boxes and as well as a few other people from the NOCO Permaculture Guild. So that was fun. And then Dope Goat is just the glint in the eye of a couple of us who are hemp and goat aficionados. So look for that. It's a great name. I'm not going to tell you too much about that yet. So now we're going to be looking at us as owners. So here we are. This is a chart that goes into the various ways to inboard and onboard into LaLa Gardens Cooperative. So over here on the left, you've got the Microbe Heroes NFT, you've got the Garden Gate NFT. Those are excellent ways to get into the ecology of LaLa Gardens by buying one of those. There's a lot of function there. There's a lot of utility. We will be going into detail about that. You can come here in the capacity of a visitor. Everybody needs to come in as an owner. And then from ownership, you can go into membership. So we've got a community owner, and then we've got the steward owner, which is basically the residents. Now, the difference between these two types of owners is that the steward owners have a little bit more voting voice than the non-local or virtual community owners, simply because we're here on the ground as residents. We know what's happening. We're being responsive to the ecology. So a lot of it is going to be us broadcasting in real life what's working as a community to the benefit of the virtual owners. And so it would make sense that that we would want to have a little bit more oversight, or not oversight, but just we're in direct relationship with nature, and she's the one that's showing us. So that's how it goes. Membership is varied. You can be a patron or a trade route or a hero. A hero's full on immersion, man. You're there to just explore how to be a part of this. Trade route is more like you're another organization that sees the value in supporting LaLa Gardens and, even like wanting to come in and host an event through us or something like that, or come for some kind of leadership training programs that we're going to be putting forward, or, any nature of that as an organization. If you see the value in our alliances, then we're trade route. Patron membership is more for people who are sort of from afar, really wanting to just support this. And they get certain benefits, and it's just what they want, and that's all described, and I'll show you in what ways this is described. So here we have a chart that basically shows how we support in all different ways. So here we are in the middle. We've got a community ownership systems that we've described just now, a governance training, really cool. We've got Maria Arpa, and we're learning the dialogue roadmap. It's beyond nonviolent communication. It's a practical application of offering deep listening to one another in a way that transforms conflict into that of a type of relationship deepening experience. And it's incredibly effective and incredibly necessary in these times of stress when we're all just clamoring for solutions and we're not listening deeply enough to one another. And there will be conflicts that arise from that, or misunderstandings. And so right away, as a governance template, we're training people who operate through this dialogue roadmap so that we're deep listening as we go and doing kind of like a needs-based, heart-based, responsive governance with each other and for each other. We are a demonstration garden, not just for food and medicine, but for Web3 applications. We've got products, we've got courses, we've got on-site trainings, we've got a local marketplace, we're going to have a local currency, and then we're working within the global as well. So we've got it all covered. And excited to bring all that. There we go. What does it mean? So yeah, you get to be a member now, and you get to get emails from me, and you get to receive magazines and publications, and I'll show you an example of one of those. Yeah, it's going to be, you get a lot as an owner for your $100. So you want to go on and be a member? That's awesome. It's an annual dues. You'll receive 10% off of all our goods and services. And you'll also receive a Microbe Heroes NFT, which, wow, I can't even believe I'm offering that. I can. The NFT is so cool. I can't wait to get into it with y'all. You can also contribute Mainvest. We've got an account there if you want to have a return on your investment. You can invest in us. And we are definitely looking for that, because we're going into another private ownership in which we have a covenant to be able to buy the property back from this private ownership. We would like to do that ASAP. So we're basically going to be fundraising anyway to be able to buy this property back as a cooperative. So anything that you want to contribute loan-wise would probably feed that aspect of what we're trying to do somehow. So you can come here as a visitor. We just had a community cleanse cohort. It was a 10-day. We had a visitor come in from Oklahoma, and he's now a raw juice aficionado and is talking to all his friends about juicing and the healing properties of juicing. So there's a lot of events that we host here that you can come and be here for the 10 days and be supported in the garden and have a really deep dive experience in so many different things, including natural farming. But we always like to start off with a good cleanse. So that's what we offered first, and it was really successful. This is the style and the way we're going to go forward with our educational materials. We will be doing a lot of the educational through the platform offered through Permatours, which will be an upcoming announcement. But basically, we're going to be working through these samplings, which are small, either online or on-site courses that go into these very specific things. These are just a few examples of what we would be offering. The seasonal flow, it's going to vary per course. It's definitely, so we've got a KNF online course coming up. We've got a 3-day on-site flow coming up, and then we've got a soil building 6 videos and PDFs. So this is the one that we're actively working on right now, this goat soil building curriculum, which I'm really excited about. We've got the KNF complete course. It's just, yeah, I think we're going to have that one almost at the same time, maybe a little bit ahead of the goat soil building. They're both going to kind of be related to the soil panel that I'm going to be doing next week with Permatours, which will be something to keep your eye on and something I'll be sending out a notice about. Then we've got these cohorts, which the 10-day juice cleanse was an example of that. And then I would like to do these online courses where we can bring other educators. We can come together as gardeners who have very specific questions and very specific needs. So when we're within the cohort, we can address those specifically. So it's like a curated course that goes deep dive for your issues and the things that you want to do. And Permatours is kind of operating that way almost automatically just because they've already visited the 70 farms. So they've established that relationship. So now when people come together in these panels, it's like we're talking to each other to teach each other. And because we already know where we need to go with it, you know? And I think the cohort can operate that way. It's kind of it hasn't been completely trialed yet, but it interests me deeply that we could create a small group and just really get a lot done in that time specific to needs. So yeah, any feedback you have about that as owners, I would love to hear it. This consultation price is going to go up to 85, and then it's for like ons for like local, and then 120 for like if I have to travel, just because I have so much infrastructure I have to look out for the goat walk twice a day. So it's like I have to find people who can step in and do these things. So I need to be supported if I'm going off site. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about the consultation that's coming up. I am going to enter into a relationship, I think, with owner Christy Thiel gave me a contact with a coach. And so I'm going to be branding myself a little bit as a natural farmer and really honing in on what my skill sets are and offering them in such a beautiful way. So you get to see me flower in all this as well as an instructor. And who knows? I mean, I think marketing wise, we could step into an interesting role with other organizations as we kind of figure this out. So yeah, we're always transparent. We're always gonna share the things that we figure out. So this is an example of the publication that all owners will get. This was so yeah, it was great. This was one of the salons that we had, and this was the gathering of souls that came, and it was really beautiful. We had a good time. As a resident, now I this chart is actually the Microbe Heroes NFT. This is how it functions. And we've identified that the residencies can operate in a very similar fashion. So we have 5 residencies, and each one kind of fits an archetype. I'm a steward, so I'm the gardener. Blaze is more the alchemist, so he's bringing in the NFTs and the co-op structure and helping us with the bylaws and helping us with some of the structural stuff. Um, yeah, we've got an elder anyway, so we're looking at how the residencies function as if this is a sanctuary and people are here as residents to not only learn, but to step into a new way of relating with their own agency and their own world and their own work. So, I mean, Rafe was able to be here and create an entire feature-length film. It's just visionary, and there's been just so many offshoots that have come from him doing that. He's also the videographer who's creating a lot of our or helping capture some of the functions here so we can turn it into online courses. So that describes a type of a return. So each resident is given a sanctuary, a place to work, but then the kinds of things that they create here, 40% of the income generated from that will come back to LaLa Gardens. So we're going to be supporting residencies that come in probably through proposal at some point and are identified ahead of time as here to do a certain kind of work or a certain kind of thing. And that will be supported in the ecosystem, and that how they create economy will then have a return effect on the garden. They're not married, they don't have to stay here forever. They can take that with them when they go. It's just we're helping to create the system by which the thing that protected them in the curation and in the incubation of the thing is also nurtured. And it just displays the way that, you know, when you have a regenerative system, 40 to 50% of everything that's produced right there and then needs to return back to the land to be truly regenerative, to have that effect where all the signaling from the system, from the season, all the microbial diversity is being returned back in a way that blankets the earth in organic material, living organic material, so that it can just keep creating soil and keep creating soil. And the seeds have somewhere to drop that's going to help them survive and thrive. And every generation gets better. And then you've got this diversity that moves in, and diversity upon diversity, diversity. So if we can create systems in the way we work with economy and these sanctuary situations that help nurture agency, then I'm excited to see what comes of that. I think we're going to be a way to support artists, support things that don't normally get supported. And that's this little piece is what I'm most excited about with LaLa Gardens residencies and people who are making the commitment to do this system. It's something that resonates. And so if you know someone or want yourself or pass this on to someone who you feel could benefit from something like this, don't hesitate. Um, yeah. And then through the data and the coin and the voting, all of this stuff can be supported. Then perks returned back to the community that supports them. So, there's a whole patron system that can work here too, where maybe the residencies are earning some universal income based on a patronage that is supporting the whole ecosystem, because it just sees this as a viable way to incubate real living projects. So yeah, this is it in a nutshell. Have fun. This is just a little bit of an example of what we do: work, trade, residencies, some actual examples of folks that have been here and very supportive of the ecosystem. Bernard and some folks from CSU. All right, this is the magazine. These are the goats. This was a real project. This was the Poop is Poetry project that we did. This is the magazine, Gardening Life. So yeah, I'm going to start making more of these, and I'm actually looking for submissions. So if you would like to submit or be part of the magazine, this is a magazine with the intention of making organizations function and visible to one another. So feel free to let me know if you'd like to submit something or create something within the magazine. LaLa Gardens in real life. spa and trainings for KNF, and we had a hempcrete workshop, so workshops. This is a little chart I put together, economy, the ecology of economy, and it is a video that you can watch. It's kind of how I'd like to step into how we do like project management. And I won't go into detail in what this is now, but just know there is a kind of a seasonal approach when we're looking at how we're going to build all kinds of things from this ecosystem. It's going to be seasonal based and respective of seasons. And then, yeah, just creating marketplace together. One of the functions of the magazine, I think, should be highlighting who the trade route is, who are the members, who are the owners. What are we doing together? What are our offerings? How can we support each other? So, Poop is Poetry is one of the flagship proposals that have just really, I think, delighted a lot of people and brought some people together. So it's a living document, it's ongoing, it's something that we'd like to offer to small festivals as a project, as an installation. So taking poop and almost like making it art in a way really highlights the playfulness that we can bring to closing the poop loop, closing another waste stream. It's a playful thing. It's doable. We can certainly do this. So yeah, this will be a fun one to look into. And then yeah, I've got resources and links, and I think those are in the email that I sent you. That was the welcome on the onboarding for the ownership. And that's what this is. And then one last, oh, the Declaration of Interdependence. This is underlying everything. All the products that come out of here, including the Lab Fabby balls, the leaf protein concentrate, this shilajit that we harvest and purify and offer back as medicine. All of these things are principle based and have a narrative of how they've evolved. Like I can't really sell clay balls. I can certainly teach how to make them. Like I can't mass produce them, but I can sell them locally. I can teach you how to make them. And we can enter into a relationship based kind of sharing of tools and products. And so this is just kind of showing how we might be a little bit different, I guess. Here's some sample pictures from the garden over the years. We always get rainbows. Every summer, just so many rainbows off to the east. It's really beautiful. We're fairly productive when we are growing food. It's just we've been fallow for a couple years, and that's been an entire lesson, which I can't wait to share. Letting a garden go fallow is very important. I've learned so much the last 2 years because it's been fallow 2 years. I've learned so much. And next year is going to be a profound growing season. And I just can't wait. Just can't wait. And here we are at the end. This is LaLa Gardens. A little bit of a map. Yeah, the goat shed here. This is the main garden. These are the solar panels. This is where we're building an IMO 5 pile right now. This is where we're building soil right now. This is where the course that I'm offering is going to be highlighting what's going on right here. We haven't quite filled the pond yet. That's next, but yeah, this is it. All right. Here's a few more things I'd like to share with everybody here. One is just I would love it if you could share the good news with friends or organizations that you know about and just like, I don't know, do what you need to do. But this is lalagardens.coop, and this is the ownership section, and this is indeed where they would come to become an owner. So if you could direct people there, that would be great. This I wanted to show you is Bloom Network. And yeah, we are at Bloom. And yeah, this is going to be open for us very soon. And anyway, yeah, find your Bloom. We're a local Bloom for Fort Collins. Pretty excited about this. Here's permatours, and you can scroll down and see that they had an amazing soil panel yesterday with Dr. Adam Cobb and Navona Gallegos, and there's gonna be one that I get to participate with next week, so I'll send out an invite. But yeah, if you go to the Permatours Facebook page or even LaLa Gardens Cooperative Facebook, you'll see a link. And I would highly encourage anyone who's interested in soil building to watch this. This is some really very good information. I was just incredibly impressed by the quality. This is just a sample of what the publication is going to look like when we send it out. We're going to just talk about the community. There's going to be little instructionals and different events, and then a community page. They can be anything we want. We could do a bulletin board. We could do anything we want. So highlighting community, book club, talk about crypto, whatever. Talk about farming. And then one more thing, last but not least, we are having an event this upcoming Saturday from 2 to 8, and it's going to be so fun. I can't wait to participate. There's going to be workshops, poetry workshops, writing workshops, the whole thing, and then a performance piece at the end, and a band. Black Market is yeah, it's a live band, and poets come and do reading, and it's going to be an amazing event. Yeah, come. That's it. I mean, I'm excited to share what's going on, and yeah, thanks for joining. Talk to you soon.